We got a packed show today. Welcome everyone to Hospitality 360 Live with myself. So I've got Virginia Pizzi, I've got Amanda Daniels, I've got Wendy Lane, I've got Corina Burton, and the most famous person here, right? Brian J Esposito.
Far from true.
All right, so welcome guys. Hope everyone's doing well. This is gonna be a phenomenal show. I am just excited to be here today in front of all you guys. I mean, I've been waiting for this Thursday. So welcome everyone. So I'll kind of maybe start with Virginia. Virginia, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and maybe our audience about who Virginia Pizzi is?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So happy to be here. And thank you, Ken, again for the opportunity. My name is Virginia Pizzi. I have about 15 years of professional experience in the architecture and design world, consecutively with hospitality. I'm currently the business development and marketing director for an architecture firm called YSM and our joint venture called YPA with designer Claudio Peroni. I've worked with leading hospitality brands from Marriott, Four Seasons, One and Only, Mandarin Oriental, the Beverly Hills Hotel and the Dorchester Collection, as well as on dining projects with top chefs, including Thomas Keller, Daniel Boulud, Charlie Palmer. I love the hospitality business, passionate about it, and happy to be here again. Thanks.
Thank you, Virginia. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda Daniels. I've been in the commercial real estate and construction industry for about 11 years, specifically as it pertains to healthcare construction. I believe if you can build in a hospital or build a hospital, you can build anything. And I think this applies particularly to the hospitality industry because you've got people in there of various levels of health and degrees of being immunocompromised. And especially in this environment of COVID, you have to take that into consideration. So my focus is always on infection control, technology, how we can improve that.
Thank you, Amanda. Wendy, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Wendy Lane, otherwise known as Sexy Chef Wendy or Chef Wendy Lane. I have been in restaurant industry as a profession for the last decade, but I've been cooking basically since I was a child. I've been my strengths have been, I've been in front of a camera as well as a child. So I created a brand called Sexy Chef Wendy about a decade ago, where I promote love and connection through cooking. I opened a restaurant, my first restaurant through COVID in Scottsdale, Arizona, a ghost kitchen. So that's been a really exciting new project. And my passion and message is to get create people awareness, to get people together through cooking and create more passion around that.
Thank you, Wendy. Karina?
Thank you, Ken, for the opportunity to be on this panel. I love your show, so I'm excited. I'm Karina Burton. I am co-owner of CPR Construction Cleaning. My background is about 15 years of business-to-business relationships and helping other businesses grow. And just a little over 2 years ago, I decided to start my own business in a very needed niche market of focusing on construction, cleaning, and environmental awareness as well. We grew specifically in during COVID, so 2020, we were able to grow our business from just being in Arizona into an additional 5 states. So we're currently working in 6 states, just under 2 years in business. So we're thriving, and hopefully we'll be in all over the country. And I'd love to be international as well. So we're excited.
I'm sure you will do it. I have no doubt about that. Brian?
Yes, thanks, Ken. Honored to be amongst everybody here. Brian J Esposito, CEO and founder of Esposito Intellectual Enterprises. It's a holding company that consists of over 75 different holdings, over 150 joint ventures around the world, and operating in over 25 different industries. I was honored to be asked by Ken and the executive team to join the EV Hotel Group, where I act as Chief Strategy Officer and also Chief Investment Officer. So without further ado, let's kick this amazing show off. Ken, what do you say?
Absolutely. I don't know. We're missing the host. I don't know. I just substituted today after stocking shelves at Walmart. So, I'll gladly do this show, but gladly step in. So we got a lot of things to cover, ladies and gentlemen. It's tons and tons of things, right? So the first thing, I'm going to take it off here, and it pains me to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it because I'm in the hospitality industry, that how the Boston Red Sox are doing so well right now. And Boston as a hospitality sector and the market has been struggling for the last 18 months. But it rejuvenated that sector because how well the Red Sox are doing. And it's kind of amazing to see that. So congratulations, Boston. I just wanted to give a shout out, especially to my best friend, Danielle. You knew you wanted me to talk about it, so here you are. I will talk about it. So I kind of want to ask each of you, okay? It's a new segment that I'm doing on the show that our panel host. I want to kind of ask, what's the most amazing thing this week? And what has happened to you this week that's just kind of been something that's just amazing? Anything. Virginia?
Well, I had a really interesting conversation about a confidential development that was combining hospitality, health, nature, luxury homes, kind of looking to a whole new world into something that we've not seen before mainstream. So that was really exciting to see. I feel like we're going in a really positive direction in the world.
Awesome. Perfect. Amanda?
Well, yes, something incredible did happen this week. Unfortunately, I'm under about 100 NDAs, but it has to do with the energy sector and technology, and something that I think is completely groundbreaking and earth-shattering. Our company is very passionate about environmentally safe building and building for the future and solar and all of that. One of the cool things we're working on is solar cladding, and we're working with Pond and Company Engineering to, I think one of their dreams is to see solar cladding on the exterior of all these high rises to help reinforce the grid. But anyway, there's some big news coming with all of that.
Oh, awesome. I mean, that's phenomenal. Wish you could have shared it, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We don't want you to break that NDA.
Not yet.
Wendy?
Gotta love those NDAs, right?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I like an amazing thing happens every week, but I'm gonna be full disclosure here. It's amazing to me that you, Ken, and Brian, how we connected, because I met Brian, right before COVID, and we've done some business together. I admire him so much. He's an amazing guy. And then I met you about 8 months ago separately. We didn't know each other, as the three of us didn't know each other, as knowing one another. And
Right.
then when I discovered, I just Brian and I reconnected because I had to deal with something in social media, and we reconnected. We hadn't spoken for a few months, and he tells me he's involved with this incredible project. And I look at his bio, and I'm like, wait a second, I know Ken. And it just thrilled me, and it just shows you, that we're so connected, really. And Brian and I cannot get away from each other for sure. We're going to do business together, and I'm just really excited that this came together.
Oh, I know. Me too, Wendy. It's great to reconnect with you, and I value all my connections. I mean, just more than business connections. So
Yes.
I'm glad we were able to reconnect.
Absolutely.
Karina?
So I got to celebrate my birthday this week. I know that's probably a cheesy cop-out, but it was actually a really good birthday because we have been able to solidify some key components to our business so that it will enable us to start really looking very seriously into a national brand and a national opportunity for my company. So it was kind of like I get to celebrate my birthday, but I also get to celebrate this because that for us is obviously going to be life-changing once we start working on that at the beginning of the year.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. So you didn't take my advice through that text message I sent you. Take it easy, huh?
Well, I would like to say I did. I actually was super chill. I hung out at home. I got a pedicure, and I didn't do anything until dinner time. And then I just, celebrated at dinner. Like that's as much as I got for the day.
Yeah, well, I'll have that feeling next week. So we're doing our show on Friday. That's when I'll be 21.
Yeah, I celebrated my 21st birthday too.
Yeah. Brian?
Thanks, Ken. And Wendy, thank you for the kind words. I also loved how serendipitous the world can be when you're open to it and all these connections can flourish. But this week, one of our companies, Nodal, that's probably one of my most coveted holdings amongst EV and all these other great things. It's the world's largest wireless network. We completely revamped our app, so it's Nodal Cash. Anybody around the world can download the Nodal Cash app and walk around. And as your phone is walking past IoT devices, so anything with a Bluetooth chip that's broadcasting data, you passively earn Nodal Cash cryptocurrency. So we've given everybody on the planet the ability to earn a cryptocurrency, participate in this wonderful market, and make it as easy and effortless as possible. So that was a phenomenal job by one of the best teams in the world. So that's what we did this week.
Oh, I know. I was following that, so I was very excited to see that. Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you. Well, we're bringing that into the hotel environment, so it's a win for everybody.
Hey, I didn't want to say that. I always have to wait for you to say it, Brian. You know how that works?
Thank you. I'm breaking my own NDA.
Yeah.
I'm going to sue myself later. So see who wins that one.
I know, right? Well, someone's got to be the beneficial party of that one. But so let me take it right to our first piece, ladies and gentlemen. Here is, and this has kind of hit me in a way where I saw it coming, but at the same time, I didn't know how big it was going to be. And we're talking about the women labor force, right? It's been a very heavy portion of what has happened during the pandemic. When we look at just September alone, 300,000 women left the labor force. We added a total of 194,000 jobs in September. The 300,000 of women that left was the largest drop-off since September of 2020. And at this rate of that drop-off, it would take 2 years to gain the 5 million jobs lost during COVID. The rise in depression, anxiety order. All of these things, people didn't realize that the woman labor force plays a huge part of our recovery. And I've said there's been reasons why this has been happening. And I think depression has one of those things to do it. It also has flexibility. So I'm going to probably go to Brian here first, and then we can go to the ladies. Brian, what do you...
Sure, the only non-other female on the call. We'll go to me first.
No pressure.
I look at things a lot, very analytical sometimes. See what happens in September, you have children going back to school. Right. And I think in that household where you have, the nuclear household where you have a husband and wife and children, I think I don't want to call it the burden, but the responsibility of maybe staying home does typically fall upon the mother of that household. So I do think that plays into it, just because it is the biggest month of that drop off, and also school is starting. And the other thing, also with the female responsibility for caretaking, if anybody's sick in the home, that usually falls on them as well, to take care of the kids or take care of the family or their parents. So those are the things that I was thinking of when I was reviewing that article, and why that massive unemployment number. But we'll have to see what happens in October. If it continues to dip, then there's something more going on. But right now, that's all I have to base it off of.
Thank you, Brian. Karina?
It's interesting. I actually was featured in one of the Arizona publications regarding this specific topic, that, they were inquiring, how did, women be able to, continue to survive throughout the pandemic of their jobs and their careers. Especially women who have children. I have four daughters, and so I'm also a really big advocate on this situation as well. And as Brian said, it really does fall on the responsibility of a female, right? It's kind of that traditional gender that is the one that stays at home. And for myself, I have, for the last 10 years have been a provider for my family. And it's really important for other women to feel that sense of security of knowing that they can do it. I have a 5-year-old daughter who just started kindergarten and, all the way to 17 years old. So, I have variation of different ages, and it's really empowering the other women to be having that opportunity and knowing that they do have a voice. They do have the opportunity to go back out into the work field. They just really need that sense of support and understanding that there is a way and we have to help them through it. And that it really shouldn't always just fall on the woman's role, especially if there is 2 partners within the household. And I think with there being more women or more people, I think advocating for women to be able to have that sense of empowerment, the numbers will change, it will increase. And for me, I was very fortunate to be able to manage within my household with my children. But I think there was one thing, and it was stressful. And I had to try to figure out how to grow a business while having children at home, especially during COVID. But then when the kids got back to school, I still had a 4-year-old at home. And so I think also being able to bring awareness to the to childcare. The cost of childcare is astronomical when you're paying around $1,100 to $1,300 a month, and then you think about the sicknesses they bring. So I think there also needs to be assistance with that and figuring out how do we make this more affordable for women to be able to feel that empowerment once again. So there's multiple things that need to happen to, see this change. Like Ken said, women are a huge pivoting factor in the workforce, and women need to be out there who want to do this, right? And if they want to, they should feel empowered.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely. Wendy?
I relate to you very much. I've been in the position for a decade. It's when I started my brand I became a single mother of 4. And my children, I have 3 girls and a boy, and now just the last one's in the house, 17. And I understand everything you're saying, and I think it is a real struggle. From my point of view, I've had to work all the time to provide for my family, so I've had to find an opportunity for myself, no matter what. And my daughters my children are like that as well. I think that when the pandemic happened, like one of my daughters in Los Angeles, she lost her job because the company was in the UK and they shut every store down in the United States. So she, obviously she lost her job and she went on unemployment. And I think what happens is, as one of the points that you brought up was that, like childcare costs, for instance, or healthcare costs is so astronomical that when you start to put all the numbers together, let's say even if you went out and got just any job, just to try to provide for your family in a restaurant, which industry I'm in, or any, just any job that pays, minimum wage, which let's just use that as an example. It's simply not enough to provide for your family. So a lot of people are put in the position like, they just stayed on unemployment. And I also have family in Hawaii, and no one went back to the workforce because they were getting more money through unemployment. And, it's funny because if they went back to work, then they weren't getting paid enough to provide for their family and then to have caretakers and insurance. And to me, it's a very broken system. It's a big loop and unfortunately during COVID, it just became very obvious, how broken it was. And my daughter went half of the pandemic without working, and then luckily she got a job. And it really was weighing, am I going to get more from, from unemployment or getting the job and and health insurance? And am I going to be able to afford health insurance? And, there's all those factors. And then again, from my point of view, I just have never had a choice. So I just, no matter what, have to, because, I had children I had to feed. I didn't have the counterpart. So, and then back to what Brian said, of course, there's the old cliche of, women are really like expected and are the caretakers a lot of the time, but a lot of men are as well. I don't want to take that away from men either. Right. But I think it's not just that. I think COVID threw in some factors that none of us expected. Suddenly we're at home. Suddenly a lot of people simply lost their jobs, went on unemployment, decided, and a lot of people did not go back, especially in my industry, in the restaurant industry. It is impossible right now to find chefs or workers that will stay with you. And I think because of the pandemic, because of unemployment, and because people started to maybe do other things and realize that their quality of life was not so great working, these long hours and really not getting benefits. So I don't want to sound negative, but I think to solve the problem is that we have to. Everyone's coming out.
Right. So Amanda.
I don't want to yell at them, but I think just providing opportunity for other females is what we can do as women. I'm gonna
absolutely. Thank you, Wendy.
I came to my door. Sorry.
No worries. Amanda?
Okay, so this article perplexed me a little bit, so I made a few notes. The headline says 300,000 lost their jobs in September, and then in the first paragraph it says 26,000, but it says it's in government, education, and health. I'm like, what do they mean they lost them? Were they fired? Did they quit? Did they die? Like, what are they talking about? They're talking about the three industries are government, education, and health, right, which are the three industries that got the most pressure during COVID, right? But those are the industries that should be pushing to protect and retain those workers, if only to help combat a lot of the issues that came about during the pandemic. And it says that leisure and hospitality drove the hiring, but I'm seeing help wanted signs everywhere.
Absolutely.
When a Chick-fil-A in Marietta closes, there's something going on.
There's a problem.
It doesn't make sense. And I had a question for you, Ken. This is going to be a hard question. I hate to put you on the spot.
But put me on the spot.
You're going to get this question, I bet, when this topic comes up.
Yeah.
What will you say to critics who complain that your tech-centric hotels will further contribute to the lack of job opportunities for women?
I think so. What I feel like, I've said this for a while, we're missing the women in power for hospitality. We don't have enough women that can actually, I don't think that can is probably the right thing. It's more of they're not in the roles of leadership, So I feel that with technology and what we're doing and to create centric experiences, we need more women in leadership, and that's what my focus has been as well.
Gotcha.
Hopefully I answered that.
Yeah. So all you college-age girls major in hospitality management.
Yes.
And Ken will hire
you. Virginia?
My sentiments echo mostly what everyone else has said. As far as I can see, it seems like women do primarily take over the responsibility for caretaking. And I don't have children, but I have many friends that do. And I know that once you have a second child, it kind of doesn't add up to have daycare. It makes more sense financially for you to actually stay home and be with your children than to hire somebody from the money aspect, is what I've heard. And then, I think there's also a shift in education. So maybe there's another component where people don't really want to leave their kids in school the way it is right now, and they want to homeschool. So then you're dealing with an additional responsibility of becoming a teacher on top of being a mom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've said it right on. I mean, that's great. Thank you, Virginia. I just kind of want to add on before we move on. I also felt like, look, women became more entrepreneurs. You know, I mean, I think Brian said it on the last show. We've got a lot of, um, it was about coaching leaderships and executive coaching as well. So I felt like a lot of women became great entrepreneurs. So that could have played. I don't have the data on that, but I feel like maybe that has to do something of why they came out of the workforce. But what Amanda said, I have no idea about that. That was mind boggling to me as well. So, all right. So we'll kind of move on. So hospitality tech, and this is a piece that came out. This is going to be somewhere in the middle of December. They're holding an event. They're asking anyone to nominate themselves for the 2021 Hotel Visionary Award. Why we're even talking about this, and real quick, is I'm planning to go to the event. They reached out and they were very interested in what EV was doing in the EV hotel. They loved it. Obviously, we can't be nominated. I wish we could have, but we don't have the first physical EV available. So it's just going to be real quick, 30 seconds. I'm going to kind of go around and just tell people it's really, this is all about innovation, right? Something of this as Visionary Award, as you guys just give me your 30 seconds on what do you feel about the EV Hotel brand. I'll start with Virginia first. We'll go back to you here.
I obviously support fully your concept and business ideas. I think this is extremely forward thinking. Like I said, this is the Tesla of hotels. So the whole world.
Oh my God, I love you.
Follow suit. And I tried to nominate you, but I wasn't sure if I could.
Oh, I wish. Oh, we have a viewer here already wants to nominate me too.
That's right.
It's unfortunately it's not be about me. I want to make sure it's about EV. So, but Amanda.
I agree with Virginia. I think your concepts are phenomenal. It's exciting being able to support you and watch as these kind of come to fruition. And this award is just an indication of how important it is to bring technology to the hospitality industry. You hear things like insurance is the only industry that's been unimpeded by progress for 100 years. I kind of feel like the hospitality industry has been the same, and it's exciting to see that you're bringing that forth. And I had a quick question for you. What do you think will be the most in-demand technology in the hospitality industry in 5 years? After you normalize all of what you're doing.
In what I think in 5 years, I personally think that we're going to catch up to the auto industry in what they're doing and how they've kind of taken over the technology piece. When we look at whether it's the LiDAR technology, where basically, by that time, I feel like also they'll have cars that can be self-driving, right? Will we have people that can self-work in hospitality? Probably not, but we'll have centric experiences that are going to be out of this world. We might have that movie. Oh my God, why can't I remember that movie now? The number one grossing movie. They have the theme park and Disney on it, and I feel like we're gonna even physically have a rainforest. I think we're gonna have so many different experiences that technology is gonna play that part of people. Let's even say a Michael Jackson hotel. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be really about the lifestyle experiences that each hotel is going to be able to offer. There's going to be no more traditional brands. I don't think the traditional brands are going to be able to exist, and hopefully they do, and they find a way to keep up with these trends. If they can, they will exist, but hopefully that answers your question. So, Wendy?
Oh, I'm very excited. And I think, already it's been said, you are definitely the Tesla of hotels. I'm really excited about this. This is completely my world. I love it. I was approached about 8 years ago to do a robotic kitchen, and he was a engineer he worked for Disney, and this elderly gentleman, and he said, "This is the wave of the future. This is going to happen." And then I was also involved with an electric vehicle charging station. I was a spokesperson for them. I drove their Tesla around. I'm just so excited. I also have, operated a kitchen virtually, and I think it's exciting. It is the way of the future. It's amazing that you're paving it, and I completely support it. And I also think you're really awesome because you're sitting in a room here with a harem of really smart women. So you definitely are a smart guy.
Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of, thrown back sitting with all these powerful women and then a powerful gentleman where I'm just like coming in after stocking shelves at Walmart,
I didn't mean to kick you to the side, Brian, because of course, you guys are bookends. We're in the middle of you, but this is a powerful crew here for sure.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. Karina?
Well, I mean, I absolutely love your brand and the concept. And I mean, it's very forward and innovative, but what is really fascinating to me, just because of my, with my business and being at the beginning stages of construction and the duration and then the end, I love your concept of how you even start, right? The way that you build the hotel is very innovative. It is very forward thinking. It is sustainable. It's low impact. And so it's really the wave of the future of how it's created. So it's not just your brand. You literally are the core of the beginning to the end, which you don't see that actually in construction very often. You usually see the building become its best self at the end when it's then, a LEED certified building and it's, sustainable. But at the beginning stages, a lot of times they are not sustainable and they're not being low impact within the environment. So I love that, with your brand, you are what you say you are from start to finish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, great team that we have as well. So that's what plays a huge part in all the forward thinking. Brian?
Yeah, great answers, everybody. I was worried someone would say, wait, I hate that brand. It's terrible. So for me, I've spent 5 years building a hotel concept, and as much fun as it was to speak with some CEOs of major hotel flags, it was just never going to happen. And then when I was introduced to Ken through a mutual dear friend and saw that not only is he open to really anything within reason, but he wants to see change. He wants to see the whole hospitality industry elevate itself to a new level for the guest experience and for the staff experience. So in this case, I was beyond excited to come in because I don't want to say we have an easy task ahead of us, but it's so much easier to do all this from scratch and put all these great pieces of tech, IP, different types of service levels from the ground up, rather than going into something that's already built and trying to patch in little things here, little things there that doesn't make sense. The guest doesn't understand, like an antiquated building, but with a really high tech piece of equipment in it, it loses its meaning. So for me, I'm excited that we're building a brand that is future proof, because we have to also continue to evolve. We can't just stop here. We have to keep moving forward and bringing in new things, new IP, and always elevating ourselves to keep so we don't become left behind and somebody else comes in over top of us. So I'm excited about that we're building this from scratch.
Thank you, Brian. And I'm so excited just to have you on board, part of the EV team as well. So as I said before, I mean, I've had phenomenal people that work around our brand and work with me as well. So you can never do anything by yourself. I always believe that you need great people, you need good people, and I have that. So it's I feel like what was impossible is very possible now. So we'll see what happens. But so thank you guys, appreciate that. So as we stay on this technology piece, we'll go on to the next piece here. Is from hospitalitynet.org. Is how is digital transformation facilitating the service portion of this hospitality industry? And what I get from this piece right here is there were a few items, right? The IoT devices, the smart rooms, the centric transformation, adopting technologies that increase bottom line, the AR, VR that drives bookings, the solution focus on service focused industries, and I feel like we have all of that. We've combined all of that together and we're ahead of the game now. And I would, as I lay down all these things that I just spoke about, I mean, I'm going to go to you guys and ask you guys, what do you think? And this article was from EHL. It's the first ever hospitality management school in the world. It's a very prominent school as well. So I'm glad for the reason they put this out, because now the students of that university are going to know what a digital transformation is and what is happening to this industry right now. And that is the digital transformation. So I'm glad a school like that, and even my school that I went to, they're doing the same thing. But I'll go to you guys first and ask you, what do you think is the most important as we discuss IoT device, smart rooms, the centric transformation, adopting technologies to increase the bottom line, AR, VR, the virtual tours to drive better bookings, rather than you not knowing when you're checking in that this hotel sucks. But and more of the solution focus. Brian?
Well, for me, I'm always thinking profitability, because the most important thing about any business is to have the cash flow to keep growing the business and hire people. So the idea of utilizing tech, not to fire people or have limited staff, but to enhance everybody's job function and to make the entire experience more valuable and more worthwhile and more memorable. So for me, it's definitely the bringing in all this tech for bottom line, and also things like a company like Nightscope to provide robots that go around the facility for security purposes. That visual idea that there's a little robot walking around and capturing things makes people feel safe. So bringing those two things into a building, I think, enhance all the values you can want in a hotel, and help secure people's jobs and keep those rooms booked.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. I think you forgot one thing, crypto.
What'd you say?
I said, I think you forgot one thing, crypto.
Oh, well, that wasn't on your list of things. And
I know.
and crypto.
I
Yes.
figured Brian Esposito would throw in the crypto part of this
yes,
list.
yeah. And we're going to be the ones that do it right, that work with regulatory and compliance, and for people to be able to easily book a room, buy their turkey club sandwich, order a drink, tip the staff, all through a digital wallet, and making it fun, exciting, and the ability for people to earn crypto, like I mentioned earlier, with apps and technologies like Nodal Cash, where they're not just spending money, they also have the ability to make some money while they're staying in EB hotels.
Absolutely. I like that answer. Love that answer. Wendy?
First of all, I was just wondering, could I have one of those little robots for a while? I just want him to roam around my house and take care of everything.
Everything. Absolutely.
They would have handled the dogs. They would have handled the UPS. I think it's brilliant, because, when I just recently was traveling with my youngest daughter, looking at colleges, and we're discussing, and I stayed at just Holiday Express at Vanderbilt. She looked at University of Vanderbilt. It was $300 and something a night. It was very, very, very basic. And I thought I should have just got an Airbnb. But if your hotel had been up, that would have been fantastic. But then I just was dumbfounded at that. And basically, I had to do everything kind of myself. Then we were at the University of Georgia, which is a little bit more high tech. They're not quite where you're at, but and it was absolutely stunning, beautiful. They are trying to do what you're doing. They're trying to adjust to that. And it was $89 a night. I couldn't believe it. So I'm just... In the middle of that is this, we're in a world right now, and any of you, that have children, you understand that our children are growing up on these phones. I see it more with my 17-year-old than any of the others. And so everything is virtual. Everything's at everyone's fingertips, from Uber to, ordering food, what I'm doing, the ghost kitchen, everything is in this phone that I'm talking to you on right now. That's why I'm pointing at it. But I think I think the consumer, and even myself, I would have rather just handled this on my own, than to have to go through the nuisance that I had to for a basic experience for $300 a night, like
Right.
it's ridiculous. So no, I think it's, again, you're also hitting, this whole new generation of children and raising kids, because mine are spread out too in age. The first one I had a beeper, then that was what I sent her off to school with, then the cell phones, and this last one is only on the phone. So this is the way it's going to be. So I say embrace it as you are, and I think that the consumers are just going to expect it more and more. And you have the opportunity to be the leader here. It's like the new frontier. We just had a Star Trek star. I can't think of his name. Sorry,
Yeah.
go up into outer space. I mean, who would ever thought that would happen, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Here we are in the Jetsons, and we're living all these things that we, saw, our parents saw as funny, as a fantasy. It's reality, and I just think you should be pinching yourself and like, look what I'm doing, and it's brilliant. And like coming out of COVID and just traveling a little bit as I have been recently, I can see the need for this. Sorry,
Yeah,
it wasn't 30
absolutely.
seconds. There you go.
Absolutely. Thank you, Wendy.
William Shatner. William Shatner had a moment.
William Shatner. That's
My
right.
God. William Shatner, 90 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have one of your hotels, up in space. Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll put it right with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos too.
Totally.
Amanda?
I think the only advancement left is what level of service these robots can provide. I mean, leading in-room, workout or exercise sessions, or telemedicine, or massage, or whatever it is, enhancing that experience. And I'm just thrilled with what you're doing. And when you mentioned the Jetsons, Wendy, that rings a bell with me. I don't like old, crusty, historic things. I don't want weird vibes. I like new, shiny, clean. Give me the smell of fresh paint. No weird vibes, technology. So, what you're creating is a dream come true for me. That's, the thing you dread when you go to Europe. If you're someone like me, it's like,
Yeah,
And to Brian's point, you can't just put technology in a crusty, moldy, structure from the 80s. Like, that doesn't work. It's even worse. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. I just
They
had
are
a
trying to do that.
flashback.
They're trying to do that at Vanderbilt. They're taking, I don't know, Brian, maybe you've seen this, but they are taking, it's pretty interesting how they're integrating very modern structures into these older buildings. Brian, you should know.
Yeah, a lot of it because they're historic. They can't really do much to it, but they are doing some interesting things in Nashville and the city outside of Nashville, Franklin, as well.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Karina?
Well, when I think of this and like the innovation of technology within the hospitality industry, it's really the experience, right? Like, I think that initially when you think of the hotels, it's just a place for you to sleep, so then you can go on to the next thing, right? But for me, since I do travel quite a bit for my business, as we're growing into, multiple states, I am very particular, like Amanda, on where I stay, because, it's not only about it being clean and a good place for me to sleep. It's about the experience, right? You spend a certain amount of money, or you put value into something. You want the experience in return. And then that's what drives people to want to continue to go back to those types of hotels. It's the ultimate experience. And that's what drives me. And you see that also in the food industry. It's the experience, right? So you don't even think about the dollar. You think about, I want this because of the ultimate experience. And so, it's very exciting to see someone in the hospitality to want to give people an experience, not just a place to sleep. It's clean, it's modern, it's a full experience. And so you feel like you get your, the dollar's worth, and you'll continue to want to go again and again.
Absolutely. I truly believe in a centric experience, so once in a lifetime experience. So, and thank you, Karina. Design queen, author of the greatest design book, Virginia.
So I love modern things, but I also like the old crusty ones. And I think that's kind of like I walk at the in-between line on this topic. So the R2D2 robot for me was like awesome, but that humanoid thing, no, definitely no. I would not stay at a hotel with that creepy, weird human thing. So as long as the technology works and it's seamless and it's not creepy, then I think we have a lot of success in our future. It's dealing with trying to make it that seamless experience and integrating it all into one so that you don't have to download 14 different apps and get confused in one. You know what I mean? Just like one place, boom, everything's there. If you think that works, then I think it's 1,000% success.
So you're saying you wouldn't want to be at a hotel where they actually put Brad Pitt's face onto the robot?
I'm in for that one.
Yeah.
Like the wax museum, not the real Brad.
Right.
Yeah.
Take a hologram of him.
It would be like, Brad, are you there?
Yeah. But R2D2 with the toothbrush, that's money. I loved that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I have a different take on when I talk about these robots, and I've kind of done so much research to know how each and every one has worked and what the technology and what the mapping and a lot of this different stuff, and it's so fascinating to me to know how this exactly works. Like, people think, when I talk to them, they think that what if it malfunctions? I'm like, I don't think you understand the technology behind this and for it not to malfunction. But we'll see how well all of this plays out. I don't think it's going away like crypto. It's not going away. So I had to put that in there, Brian.
I like it.
Excuse me. So we'll go on to a topic that kind of, I always have. I don't know if I'm angry about it. I'm not angry about it, but I think it's almost in a way is, why do we keep pushing it? Why do we keep pushing it over and over and over when nobody wants it? And that is breakfast. The hot breakfast at hotels. And this, I just have to say that, when I heard this and it said 75% of people want the hot breakfast, and I'm looking at 25 years of hospitality, and I am like, okay, let me find those 75% of people. Where are they? Because when we got our guest surveys, every single hotel I've been at, I'm not even kidding you, every single hotel I was at that offered free breakfast, our scores sucked. Our scores sucked because they said, how was the breakfast? Can you rate the breakfast? Was the food good? And everybody always said, 60% of the guests always said, 60%, maybe 70%. The service would be good. They said the hostess was great, phenomenal hostess. She was so friendly, or he was so friendly. But they said the food, where did you guys get this food? Did you get it a month ago? Did you get it 2 months ago? So it's mind-boggling to me. Why do we still keep up with it? Why do we stick with it? Because the guests don't like it. Let's come up with something else. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of breakfast. I've seen hoteliers, the owners, complain about it. Is, why are we giving free breakfast? The guests don't like it. The guests definitely don't like it. So why do we give the free breakfast? I'm not a fan of it, not for the reason it's a financial thing, for the reason that the guest doesn't like it. Why do we order it? Why do we staff it? There's just no reason for it. We might as well spend that money somewhere else where it's more effective. So I'll kind of go to you, Virginia, on this. What do you think about this? Are you a fan of the hotel breakfast?
I feel like with all of our discussion about technology, why couldn't they outsource this with a ghost kitchen or give them, like, you want fresh juice in the morning? People do intermittent fasting. They don't eat breakfast, or they have really specific diets. No one wants a rubbery microwave croissant sandwich.
No,
Save your
definitely
money
not.
and outsource it, I'd say.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Amanda?
Well, you've got, 150 pounds of powdered eggs and gelatinous blobs of oatmeal that are just wasted. And it's just sad to see that. And if you have had a great experience up until that point, it lowers the experience when you are exposed to this cafeteria, prison line style breakfast situation. So maybe have like the ghost kitchen, have a chef there who can make an omelet fresh for someone who wants it, or a smoothie fresh for someone who wants it, and charge them, $20. And if they don't want it, but you're not wasting all that food, and you don't have to see it and smell it and then dispose of it. So I think, Virginia, that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and you know what? Our every week listener, Mike McCannis, he's a fan of what you just said, smoothies. He said smoothies and coffee. I'm a fan of that too. So we might as well just kind of invent a new hot breakfast here, and maybe call it cold breakfast and smoothies and coffee. That's it. Wendy?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of you. Obviously, I mean, it is an old archaic idea, and why are we dragging it around? Or when you started, I thought you were talking about our exes, by the way. You said that old thing that we don't want to talk about. So I had to throw that in there. But I think it's like, it is like when you get on the plane and they give you this disgusting packaged food that you don't eat. And, it pains me as a restaurateur. I feel fortunate that I've run my own restaurants, my own catering, because I don't feel right throwing all this food out. I have the ability to give it to people but I see some of the kitchens where I'm at throw away just massive amounts of food. And, we've changed as a society. We just we're more sophisticated with food than we've ever been, because we have more options. Right.
And I would say best. I don't think you're eating any hotel breakfast, Wendy. Are you being a chef?
I'm a big fan of juicing. I think juicing is smart, because think about this: you just traveled, right? If somebody asked me on one of my live cooking, what do you eat? What's your go-to snack when you travel? It's very light, because it's really hard on your body. So your time zones are changing. You're dehydrated. Yeah. And you want to hit that city. At least I want to hit that city running. Like, I don't want to feel bogged down or crappy.
Absolutely.
So for me, it all starts with the beginning of your day. So I don't want to load myself up with just dead food, because that's dead food. It's been, and none of you really want to know what goes on in these, the process to get this food. If you did, you would never eat again. So it's, I think, you're doing something so fresh and new. Make it fresh and new all across the board. If you wanted to give something away, the first thing that came across my mind, and I'm not an alcohol drinker, but people love mimosas. If you gave away free mimosas at 11 o'clock, you would have everybody down there with some fresh berries. But if you wanted to do something like this, I think it's far more interesting to promote wellness and health. Don't be like everybody else. Don't have these.
I say coffee. I say let's do coffee, and that's.
I live on coffee as.
I think coffee, and I think one of our listeners said Red Bull and vodka. I don't know about that, Mike. I don't know about that in the morning.
And mimosas, or whatever. Yeah. You would have more people running down there, but yeah, just make the fresh concept. Make it fresh all the way around. That's an old idea. It's like I tell people, even like looking at your past life, I talk to friends that lament about the past. We're in the present. We're here right now. This is what's happening right now. Forget about it. We know so much. We have so much knowledge. And I'm just super passionate about this, because the beginning of the day is the most important part for your metabolism, everything to get going. So you can get on board with fresh juices and do something far more interesting than the old go-to.
Right. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Great idea, by the way. We're gonna have to think about that one. Karina?
So I totally agree with the comment that Wendy made and the archaic. That's something that I find really interesting in the construction industry, that people like to redrudge like archaic ideas. And so for me, I have always been someone who's like, if there is a problem, let's find a solution to it. And so for this specific industry, when it comes to hospitality and the breakfast situation, I would think of, well, what is my demographic? What is my experience, right? Is my demographic family? Is it people who want this really technology based, like experience at a hotel? I would really, that is that I'm marketing to, right? So it's not about, let me just do the same old thing, which is the continental breakfast, and what comes with that, or this concept of giving me some weird warmed up quiche. It would really be creating a solution for a experience within your hospitality of the market that your demographic. So, I did see someone make a comment saying partner with Jamba Juice and Starbucks. And as much as I do love them, I think they're great. This could also be a really great opportunity to partner with small businesses and allow that to, be a part of the community. So, if there is a thriving or a new concept for, a juice or a coffee, you could then have them integrate into your into the hotel as well, so that it's supporting the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have to be creative, so thank you, Karina. Brian?
Yeah, great points across the board. So we're very heavily involved in F&B and hospitality, and I was very surprised that was even a headline and worthy of any type of news. But secondly, there's food shortages and cost of food is going up 30%. I'm surprised that that's even a thought on the balance sheets and use of cash in these places. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you see the likes of Starbucks, not to keep saying their name, but I go there every day. I got my app. I love my experience. But when they're out of their sandwiches, that's scary shit, because they have the buying power and the reach and the resources that's beyond anybody you can imagine. And if they can't get food and ingredients and make sure that they can continue to sell things, then very surprising that chain wants to start buying that and wasting food again. I strongly agree with Karina. This is a time where local economies have to work together. You partner with a local restaurant that knows F&B. They know how to make the food. They know how to control their costs. They know how to service the guests. That hotel flag should worry about what else can they do in that building to enhance the experience. And if they can partner with a local business and put that brand inside of their building to do all their F&B, now they have a rented tenant in their building that they have money coming in, and someone that's just handling the F&B. They know how to do it, and that's how you keep. That's how you evolve the hotel building. Don't go back to what you were doing. And I think they asked 800 people. I don't know what kind of survey is that, or where are these people at that they're asking them. There's a lot of questions behind that couple of paragraphs news article, and big deal. That was.
I have the answer to where they were, Brian. They were in Mars. They were in Mars, and they were on Jeff Bezos' spaceship with William Shatner, and they thought they were in Star Wars.
I have to convert you Starbucks people to Nespresso. You all need to have Nespresso coffee.
Yeah.
Let's have a coffee smackdown here, because I think that is the bomb right there.
I would tell you this: the first thought when I created my hotel brand was no breakfast, no continental breakfast, no cereal breakfast, no hot breakfast. It was not going to happen, because I know, being in the industry, I'm not going to give away where the breakfast comes from and what happens with breakfast. I'm not about that, but I'm just looking at more of the experience of what the guest feels on this, and knowing that 90% of the guests do not like the breakfast. There is no point of having the breakfast. I think Brian said it well, and everybody else said it well. Brian just said doesn't make sense for the balance sheet. All you ladies said that it's not healthy. That's why we got to drink smoothies and coffee. So, I think we've got a pretty much an answer to this is do not do the breakfast. Do not do the breakfast.
Well, Ken, I would have to say, and taking it one step further, just keep the whole mess and smell out of your facility.
Yes.
Put a little gift card in with the key for $20 for breakfast at the local restaurant, and then maybe every month let it be a different local restaurant that you do.
And yeah, well said, Amanda. And also, I would say that what. Marriott's doing this, right? But on the other side of this, Marriott did a very well job with their courtyard to get the Starbucks in there. You know what I mean? Why? I mean, you've done a good job of.
Yeah, but as a guest, sorry to interrupt you, Ken. It aggravates me that the cost is sometimes 1.5, 2 times more. That infuriates me. I don't know if you notice that when you go and get a cup of coffee or you go and buy something there. If you go to Starbucks frequently, you know how much it is. And then you go to one in a hotel and it's more, and that's infuriating.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. I know what that costs too. You know what I mean? I know what they paid for that, and I'm like,
it's about 2 cents. It's about 2 pennies.
Yeah, I'm like, I know what you paid for this. I've seen the P&Ls on a courtyard, so I'm like, I know. Why am I getting charged like 3 times more than the Starbucks that's across the street here? So. I feel like to have a fair system, and you can make a little bit extra money, but don't think you're going to make 90% GOP on this thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of ridiculous. But sometimes, this is why if they're making that much on that breakfast, then why are you paying the employee only this much, right? It doesn't make sense. And that kind of takes me to this topic of, in this article, we've been talking about labor as an issue in the industry, right? We're saying there's a massive turnover issue, there's a massive labor issue, and people say, oh yeah, it's because of COVID. No, this article is from February 21st of 2019. This is before COVID happened. The employee turnover was 73.8%, okay? In hospitality, when this article came out of February 2019, when the other industries were 10 to 15%, they were focusing on part-time and seasonal employees that they relied on. Lack of flexibility. That's what we're speaking of right now. So none of this stuff, and they're saying toxic. So this is what was mind-boggling to me because, I knew of it a little bit. I didn't know how extensive it was, but the toxic or unhealthy environment, they said 63% of the toxic environment had to do with sexual harassment, communication, no clear line, and there's no growth opportunity. So all of these things now, we can know that these were happening before COVID, right? So these are the issues that were happening in this industry before COVID. Now, does that COVID and the pandemic and coronavirus, whatever you want to call this, happened, and this just put it over the top. This just put it over the top. And now I'll kind of go to you, Brian, on this first. I mean, you've kind of known about, as we discuss over and over about this labor portion. What did you think of this article that laid out here almost 8 months before COVID happened?
Yeah, I think one of the things I saw in that article was recognition, and I feel like it was coming from their management or coworkers from being recognized. And I could be wrong, but that's how I read that. And I often feel terrible for anybody in hospitality just from the way that guests treat them. And to me, that's the worst feeling in the world when you're being subservient to people as your job, and they're not even being nice to you. They're not tipping you. So for me, you already have enough life stresses going on with whether your family life, maybe you got school loans, you're trying to get your immigration papers, whatever's going on. And then you go to work and you don't get acknowledged by your coworkers or your boss, and you get abused by guests. Then you start to bring in what happened with the pandemic and COVID and being told you can get paid to stay home. Everybody would take that deal in those certain conditions. And then if you do go back to work, the minute that you get any sense, you're very sensitive now to people and the world. And if anybody gives you any type of an attitude, yeah, of course, we're all being reprogrammed as we speak. And I get it. People are scared. They're very stressed out, living in anxiety, uncertainties across the board, and they don't need any more stress. So if they get a little bit of a pushback in their job where it should be safe, they're not staying. They're not going to tolerate it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've kind of hit on all the points of it. I mean, it's a very different environment, but it's the same thing that has happened, right? So, Amanda?
When I hear turnover, I immediately think, okay, well, you need incentives to stay and you need better, faster training and onboarding to deal with that. But I guess there's a deeper cause and a deeper root that you guys are looking at. And, there's got to be some kind of cause and effect with it when this happens. And I don't know why in the hospitality industry, maybe because of so much turnover, that, they're hesitant to reprimand managers or people who are misbehaving or mistreating other people on their staff. Now, certainly guests are gonna treat them terribly from time to time. And that is something we need to work on as just a people. I mean, we've got to get better at treating our, people who service us, our healthcare workers, with more respect, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that, we didn't value being in this industry for a very long time. I saw it that we didn't value our employees. We just felt like, look, you know what? If one goes down, the next one's coming up, and obviously we're paying that price right now. We're paying that price because we didn't value those employees. Karina?
Well, not that the hospitality industry is close to what I'm doing, but obviously a large of the employee group within a hospitality establishment, there's, is a lot of cleaning. So we have our cleaning service team that's going in and cleaning up after, everyone and, getting it prepared for, a new person to come in. And when it comes to that, just, within the cleaning industry, I have seen within janitorial and, even with the hospitality, because the cleaning world, we're all within the same category of the pool of people that we are hiring. And you can see that it's a very, very, very thankless. Very
exactly. Yeah. I mean,
there is zero appreciation. Yeah. And I should say little to no appreciation, which is obviously something we have changed in my company. There is the appreciation. There is a higher pay, a much higher pay for the value of what they're bringing in. And I can tell you that somebody will literally leave the job for a 50-cent raise, because if you're not having an appreciation, there is no value for them to be there. They are going to up and leave, very quickly. So, I agree with Brian. If there is no appreciation, and they're getting paid very minimal as they're seen as just a basic job, you're going to see that fluctuation of people leaving, and bouncing from place to place very, very quickly. I mean, it's just going to be all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we have to streamline this better. Wendy?
This is a great topic. I mean, I have this conversation with chefs, restaurant owners quite a bit. We talk about this exact topic because people are having a hard time, retaining employees right now. I personally have taken the stance that I would rather pay more and have fewer and treat the few employees that I have very well and pay them well and have them happy, less hours. Specifically in the industry that I work in, not only is there, we're not necessarily dealing with, we're in the ghost kitchen, but, of course, so we don't get the abuse necessarily, one-on-one from customers, but it's a really tough industry. You know, it's like it makes me sad when I hear about these people being abused, because even myself, you know, when I would do job day after day, running a catering business, working, 12, 15 hours, and people just, they don't understand how hard that is, and the physical part that goes in it, and how demanding it is. And, employers having these, servers work 7 days a week, ungodly hours in the kitchens. My kitchen I don't have fryers for specific reasons. I know we were talking about emotional abuse, but the toxicity of a fryer all day, having that go into your skin, dealing with hot food, being burned, being cut, all the things that go on in a kitchen. I will definitely speak for the people on that one, because there's nothing easy about it. So why did we suddenly feel that these chefs that are creating beautiful food for everybody every day, getting paid, $10, $11 an hour? I mean, that's insanity. So chefs are, the suicide rate, depression is so high in that industry. It's very sad. And it's sad when you think about, this is to prepare food, that we're supposed to enjoy and love. So I feel very strongly about changing that. I'm one person, but I can do what I can do. If I can influence you in any way on this area, I will, because I really, and as far as teaching the world how to be grateful and kind to others, that's something we can only do as individuals in our own family. And hopefully it should be a course in school, how to appreciate people, how to be humble, how to be kind. Those are just things that unfortunately are hard to come by lately. But what COVID did is it gave a lot of these people that have been working laboriously night and day and hard, your feet hurt, your back hurts. All of a sudden they could gather unemployment. My family's in Hawaii and Maui, and that it shut down fully, that whole industry completely, 100% for 1 year. Going back into it, my son works at a very high-end restaurant. He's had to be everything: a host, a server, a busboy, everything, because people do not want to come back, because they realize that their quality of life is better, away from there. So I think that the best way, this is one of the reasons why I like the ghost kitchen. You have more control, and I try to always make it fun, and I let people play music in my kitchen. We have disco balls. We just try to be light and fun, and I reward them and constantly, tell people how well they're doing. And these are the things that you would think should happen, but they don't happen. So I could go on and on about this. I'll pass, but I do. I completely understand why this article was written.
Yeah, no, thank you, Wendy. That was great. Virginia?
Have you guys ever had a job that wasn't your most challenging job, but you loved the people that you worked with? Because I have, and I feel like often what makes a job awesome is working with people that you like, feeling fulfilled and happy when you go there, not being afraid you're going to get yelled at, not working 14 hours and not having enough money to pay your bills at the end of it. It's not just the job. There's so many other factors. And I do think that, people need to be paid more. And like Wendy said, maybe less staff, but a better paid and better treated staff with a clear path to success, maybe promoting from within, where if you do this, you'll get to this point, whatever. Just a better cultivation of human talent, and showing employees love, then they show your clientele love. And then maybe that guy who was grumpy in the morning has a smile on his face because you made him smile, and you have a loyal customer. It's all just one big cycle of how.
Yeah, I agree with you
Well
completely, Virginia. And everyone. I think it's a respect level. I think before COVID and the pandemic, being in this industry, and I'm only speaking about hospitality, but I see it everywhere, is we didn't respect employees, right? We didn't respect what they brought to the table and what they were about. And for so many years, we've spoken about culture, creating culture. How do we actually develop culture? It's just we never got it. We never got it. We're still trying to figure out how do we create culture and how do we develop culture. And until we figure that out, I think we are going to repeat this issue over and over. And that's my thought on it, and that's kind of how I feel. But, everybody's entitled to their opinions.
You know what would be interesting is if we could hold people accountable the way, they rate your hotel, the way an Uber driver gets to rate the passengers in the car, so that, maybe, you receive a little bit of that back yourself. When an Uber driver looks at your rating, he may say, you know what, I'm not going to pick up that truck. I'm going to go over here and get this person. So, maybe there could be a system like that where, you're also rated.
Yeah,
there was a guy in Arizona. I can't remember the name. When I find it, I'll send it to you. He did start a company like that here years ago. What you're talking about,
Brian? You hearing this?
What?
I'm listening.
I'm saying, Brian's thinking of an idea right now. I can feel it.
But the other thing, another solution for the employees is profit sharing too, and cryptocurrency. Rewarding them. But profit sharing, have them help you build your business, and then give them a part of it.
Absolutely. So we're ladies and gentlemen, we're over time. We're way over time today.
We're not doing the Larry Ellison. That was my favorite one.
Oh yeah, we are. I was getting to the point that to our last article,
Okay.
because I was like, I know you like this article. This is one of Brian's favorite people. One of my favorite people as well. I think he's a phenomenal guy, does phenomenal things for the industry. He's been, what is he? The 7th richest person in the world, I believe it is. And the billionaire, Larry Ellison, scoops up a second Lake Tahoe hotel in a $345 million deal, a Hyatt resort, 422 room spa casino. The valuation for this, he bought it at what? I think it was, the number was up there. I forget what the exact number was, but it was, I'm sorry, what was that, Brian?
Nope, I didn't say anything. But I think it was 340 something million.
Okay, 340 something, right? And 817,000 per key cost. He felt that there's a rising interest in growing casino and resort. Great point that he's had. The unique aspect of this deal that I thought is Hyatt. Hyatt's owned this thing since the 70s, 50 years. Why would they let it go now? But Larry obviously thought, and his team said, casinos are to bounce back quicker. And that gave me a thought when they said resorts and casinos. Is that the reason why the brands are buying all the inclusive resorts? The answer is no. But, I'll go. I know Brian loves this article, so I'll go to Brian first. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are Crazyville, because I feel like he's preparing for the worst. Like all these very wealthy people are building these shelters in New Zealand that fully stockpiled. So I'm reading this thing like, all right, we need to own our own hotel. Oh, we are. Great. And we need to make sure that we have a place to go when the world turns again with people that know how to survive and have supply. So I'm reading this thing like differently than you are. So my response to that is quite crazy. So I think I think he's preparing for the worst, and a smart guy, very smart guy.
Very smart guy, yes, extremely smart. And I was thinking along those lines in a way where I'm like, why would he want to buy this, especially a second one, right? A second one in Lake Tahoe. It's not like he bought this first one, but he bought a second one. Usually when I see people buying two in the same location, it always triggers that there's something going on that we don't know about. So.
And it's also coming off the heels of Bill Gates getting back into hospitality with his investments into the certain hotels. So, the good old boys like to follow each other and be in the headlines in certain industries when one gets into it. But I feel like you want to be in his good graces and get a Willy Wonka ticket to that hotel when you need a safe place to go.
Exactly.
Well, I think that it's not as much of a conspiracy as that, as just a result of COVID. I think people are traveling to places where there are more outdoor activities as opposed to the city metropolis. And I think that's a trend as more of these, super bugs and fun things are released or come out, of the fossils or whatever's happening. I think people are going to be traveling to places where they can go out and they can hike and they can do things in the water and not be just in a crowded city. So, I mean, it could be as simple as that. It could be a, sign of the apocalypse, either one or both.
Amanda, are you really saying that you're not a fan of conspiracies?
Okay, we all know that I am. Absolutely. I'm just saying, I'm trying to be the voice of reason here.
I love conspiracies.
It's probably not that complicated.
Yeah. So I love conspiracies too. I'll sit there on Netflix or Amazon Prime and look up what's the biggest conspiracy documentary going around. So but I'm with you, Amanda. Virginia?
I mean, billionaires and the Sultan of Brunei and these people, this isn't their first rodeo in buying iconic properties, right?
Absolutely.
There's something powerful about owning a luxury hotel and saying it's yours. So I think that's part of maybe it. You said he bought one already, so maybe that was profitable for him. So he just rinsed and repeated in a market that he knows is growing. I think there's something to what Amanda said as well, with the shift in where people want to travel to, and being in nature is a big deal now versus being in the middle of a city that has boarded up windows or what have you.
Right. Down restaurants.
Yeah, I think Tahoe, the Yellowstone Club, that's an exclusive members only. You have to be a millionaire to be a member. I mean, I think these areas will just continue exploding with wealth and people traveling to them who can afford to be there.
Or he just says, I'm having a big party tonight in Lake Tahoe.
My own hotel.
You're all welcome. I have a room for everyone. So, Karina?
Not to sound like a broken record, but I also agree with Amanda. I mean, you think about what everyone had experienced during the pandemic of having to, be confined within, some people were in small apartments and in big cities. And I mean, even for myself, I live in, a suburb just outside of Phoenix. And it really made me realize how much I need to have a place where I can be outdoors, being able to have the accessibility of hiking and, enjoying waterfalls and rivers or the ocean, being able to be outside. And so you would think that, I'm not the only person who feels this way. So more and more people are going to want to vacation in areas that are going to be, open and, they're not, having to be confined in small areas with other people and wearing masks. They're able to be out in the fresh air.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I am a little bit of a conspiracy theorist too, so I could see we could have these conversations.
I was about to give you the same quote I was going to give. I gave Amanda. I was like, Karina, are you not a conspiracy watcher?
Look. The little conspiracy theorist within me, though, is what has ignited me to say, I don't know if I want to only have property in Phoenix. I think I'm going to buy land where I can get, 10, 20, 100 acres and be far, far away from people, but yet still close enough to the grocery store.
Exactly.
That's my.
Thank you, Karina. Wendy?
Yeah, maybe he was playing darts drunk beer pong darts with Bill Gates, and he threw a dart at him. He goes, "Damn,
Tahoe.
Because you know why? Because he can.
Exactly.
Or maybe he lost a poker game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
or maybe William Shatner really didn't go to Mars. Maybe they have a studio they built in there, and he's really in there. You remember that movie where they didn't really go to outer space? They didn't really go to the moon, so they could have like a whole film studio in there, pretending that they're shooting the Tesla and outer space and stuff like that. It's there's all kinds of speculation, or it could be he's just bored, and hell, I just feel like spending $350 million. I mean,
I think he was I think I'll just keep going on with my thing that he wanted to throw the biggest house party ever. And this is going to be his biggest house party ever, where he invites everybody and he's got entertainment with the casino.
I mean, Ken, these are rich white people problems. What do I do with this now? More power to him. I hope it all works out. I mean, and it could be all.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to work out. I think it's going to work out really well.
Or it could be, it could be a shell. Who knows? But casinos usually are a pretty good draw. People do certainly like to be outdoors. I mean, you can certainly fly. You can fly to Maui now and pay the minimum for a hotel room is about $1,000 a night. So you may want to just be keeping up with that.
And casinos also have an international bank agreement where they get access to every currency in the world. So if you don't know what's going to be a valuable currency, what better way to have access to a casino?
Well, you guys have poisoned my brain.
We need to call Larry and tell him, look, we have a hotel brand. It's called EV, and we deal with crypto.
So, guys, you've totally poisoned my brain, and I've realized what's going on. He's going to
bring it.
Underground bunker, right?
Yes.
And there's going to be a very lucrative organ harvesting operation going on.
Oh, I didn't go that far. Jeez, Amanda, you're ruining the whole show.
At that time, he's just going to use it as a safe area. But
oh yeah.
I mean, if it has to deal with Bill Gates,
all those billionaires is just out there right again. Who knows what they're up to this week?
I'm probably going to get a cease and desist letter from Larry next week. So it's fine.
Yeah.
All of us.
Maybe
I love the move, Larry. You got refrigeration. You got all kinds of people, access to supplies.
That's right.
Great move.
So guys, thank you very much. Great show today. I mean, it was a pleasure to be on with everyone today. And I mean, this has probably been one of the best episodes I've been part of. Sorry, Calvin and Stephanie, but this has obviously been a great show. I look forward to having everyone on again. Our show is brought you by Surf Request. Thank you to our great sponsor, Surf Request and EV Hotel. Look forward to seeing everybody soon. Thank you, and have a great evening. I know we kind of went past some time, but it was great. So look forward to, obviously, I'm going to be connecting with everyone soon enough. Thank you.
We had a blast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everybody.